any Stars goals on our sheet today,
You
Kevin?
know why? Because in games 2 and 3, you got outscored 9-1.
It's a lot of,
and I'm not going to play that one goal when you got outscored 9-1.
What about the empty netter? You going to play that one? Those hurt, dude. I know, like, it just hurts because you're sitting there battling as best you can. What is the percentage on that, by the way? Does anybody have a number on percentage of, like, how often it works versus how often it fails? And
like
you
8 to 10%. I don't know.
Kick a 70-yard field goal.
Yeah,
and what's the percentage of that working versus the percentage of that thing missing or a Hail Mary?
Right.
Do that instead of a Hail Mary. I'd like to know the numbers.
Okay,
it's on you.
Me?
I'll wait.
I need to go look into that. All right, I'll see what I can.
You and numbers have a great relationship. Everybody knows that.
I do like numbers. So my question, and let's assume these are the two logical spinoffs in this series. Do you think that the Stars can pick up their scoring, or are you viewing this as a Rangers style offense right now, and you're going to need Oettinger to steal a series?
I mean, we've seen them light up the scoreboard. We have seen them do that, and they are probably. Sometimes I want to say conservative, but at the same time, I watch them play, and they're not the fastest team. So a lot of times when I'm like, oh, that should have been a breakout, like that should have been. They didn't have the skates to actually do that, right, or the ability to get away on that one. So. Sometimes I do think that they're just a team that you need to rely on to play good, steady defense, have good net minding, and you're probably going to give up a goal or two, and they are opportunistic offensively. They've been that way all season long. You lose the puck in front of the net, the Stars have been putting it home.
Yeah.
And that was, one of the things going in late there was the scores always looked good, but as Heika told us and Brian Ray, they were like, but it is because they have good finishers. So whenever this happens in the regular season, it will happen more often. Well, then everything tightens up whenever you get in the playoffs. I think they can not be that team and outscore, but I don't want to be in a race like that against Edmonton. I want to keep the score low against them.
So the Stars have 15 skaters with a negative plus minus. The only 3 with a positive are Liam Bichel, Rupe Hintz, and Sam Steele. They're all a +1.
Okay.
And then let's go to the opposite side. Wyatt Johnston is -17. The next closest is Matt Duchene at -13. And here's the part that really hurts. No one else in all of the NHL is in negative double digits in the playoffs. So
you got 2 players.
Yeah, and it's both of your players who lead by a wide margin. All right, so that's problematic.
That's tough.
But we talked in the opening or the second segment about your 5-on-5 hockey. Dallas has been outscored 31-23 in the playoffs thus far in 5-on-5 hockey.
All right.
And so while we have loved most of the elements of the power play, most of the elements of the penalty kill, obviously logic would let you know that the majority of play in pretty much every single game is going to be 5-on-5, and that is not working in the Stars' advantage thus far.
Yeah, and I mean, how did they win the one game where they came back? It was lots of penalties, lots of power plays were put in their favor, and so they got that advantage. And you can't rely on that. Like I mean, hell, go back to Game 7. One penalty was called the whole game, so you can't rely on, hey, we're going to get these 5-on-4 situations. And you also can't put yourself in 5-on-3 situations against Edmonton. Like, that's just not a good, that's not going to work out for you any way, shape, or form. Kevin, I can't tell you that we're just going to magically fix the 5-on-5 here this late in the season in the playoffs. I can't say that DeBoer's like, no, I got it all figured out, like, for this one. But they are going to have to find ways to limit the amount of goals. So when the occasions do come up and they are on a power play, they can take advantage of that because that's what they're good at.
So then the question must be asked, will this have to be in a series that Oettinger is going to steal? All right, obviously last game did not go particularly well, especially in that last period a little bit and change. But Oettinger, go back to how he's progressed, even inside each playoff series. In the first 2 rounds, Oettinger had a league-high 8 wins with a .919 save percentage and a 2.47 goals against average. But what you really hope you see is the Oettinger step up from the Winnipeg series. All right? Games 1 through 3 against Winnipeg. Save percentage, .914. Games 4 through 6, .944. So that is a major jump up. Goals against average, 2.36. That'll still usually get it done for you. Games 4 through 6, 1.68.
It's not good.
No,
that's really good.
Yes, I was about to say, wow,
yeah.
Corey, you do have high standards. I like it.
Yeah, I need a 0.1.
So you saw him progress significantly in the back half of the Winnipeg series, and obviously you're hoping you're going to see the same thing here. And then if you need just a little bit of extra confidence for tonight. All right, Oettinger, 26 years old. He's already played 60 playoff games.
That's a lot.
It is. It really is.
Especially when, hitting on him as a draft pick is pretty special.
Yes.
That's a pretty awesome thing, but knowing that he got into the game so early in his career that you have that number right there on this competitive of a team is a pretty significant deal.
And so potentially really positive news for people after a loss in the playoffs, although I know you could argue, hey, isn't that what happened in game 3? Fair point. After a loss in the playoffs, Oetter is 18-7. So a lot of positives from that perspective. Somebody asked this question, and I have wanted to talk about this for a couple of weeks now. What has happened to Rantanen? He was a beast in the first rounds, and now he's basically non-existent.
Can I touch on Oetter first?
Sure.
I think tonight he has to steal it. Now the series, okay. I don't think that he has to steal the series, but I think he has to steal one from them tonight. They need home ice back.
Yeah.
And he needs to go out there and shut the door and say it's not happening tonight, because there are going to be, as I've been talking about all day, there are going to be a lot of opportunities for McDavid to come right at him and have a little bit of a different look at him. So I think tonight he's going to have to be as sharp as he's ever been for this game specifically, because his team needs him to put them in a better position for when they come back home. And so that's one. When it comes to Rantanen and Kevin, I'm with you. I think that Edmonton's done a really good job. They've done a really good job of making sure that they're not giving him easy opportunities. And that being said, some of the shots have just missed. And that's frustrating too. But it doesn't feel like this team is. There are 2 things that are consistent with the Stars. One, they're not physical enough until called upon, and they don't put up enough shots for whatever reason to make you feel very good.
Now, for Rantanen, and I'm glad somebody texted this question in to ask it, the whole reason that he's not on Connor McDavid's level is he will disappear in a game on you.
Yep.
And he will disappear in multiple games. And that's just what comes along with the Mikko Rantanen experience.
He does, you watch him, he's doing the small things.
Sure.
It's just not the game-changing net thing that you are expecting of him.
And so you'll get that run of game 6, game 7, and then going into the Winnipeg series, game 1, where you're just like, obviously this is the best player in the world. And then I know in game 3, he was phenomenal as well. But you'll also see plenty of games where he disappears. And that's just part of the deal that comes along with Rantanen. Now, you said he'll need to, but my question for you guys now is, will it happen? Do you believe that the Stars are going to win tonight? It's not a must win, but obviously being at a 3-1 deficit, not so great.
Pivotal is the word I would use.
All right.
I'm serious when I say that, too, because I really do not want to go down another game. That would be terrifying against the talent and really just Connor McDavid alone, let alone the 3 or 4 other, incredible playmakers that they have. I do think that they have a chance, but it's going to require somebody like Mikko Rantanen stepping up, which it felt like the one time he really went off and exploded for you in this playoff run so far, you really needed it. You were down a couple of your big playmakers. You were dealing
all
with
hope was lost, right?
It felt like things were just going every which way away from the way that you wanted it to go as a Dallas Stars fan. But he said, you know what, I'll do it myself. I don't care. And he was otherworldly. If we get some sort of performance like that, it doesn't have to be him. It could be Liam Bichel if he wants to show up and just dominate on the boards and then say, hey, I'll score 3 times myself and we'll win the game.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like one person is going to have to do the heavy lifting, which that's what scares me here.
Otter's doing that tonight, Kevin. I believe Oetter is going to go in there and he's going to have his eyes locked in on this sucker. And I do believe that they're going to have a different plan for tonight, based on what they learned from the line change last night and the last couple of games. They just haven't been themselves. Like, I think that they're all looking at themselves right now saying, we didn't play our hockey. We let them push us around and we're not going to do that tonight. And also they got to go in there and really stick Corey Perry in the throat at some point. I'm not saying, injure this guy, but get him to fight you and get kicked out, do something like that.
Now, I see a couple of people singling out Jamie Benn and Jason Robertson. So I'm more in the Jason Robertson needs to step it up crew, because I think Jamie Benn is doing the best he can with his diminished skill set. I hope that doesn't hurt anybody's feelings. I think we're just looking at what it is the biggest contribution he can truly bring to this team is upping their physical presence. Not saying he can't score now and again, but you've already seen lengthy scoreless streaks from him this season, and I think it's his physicality that the Stars need more than his ability to help set up a goal.
Yeah, finish his checks, man. Go in there and actually do that part of it, and be that guy that everybody knows he's coming into this corner. I'm going to get hit right now. Kevin, when it comes to Robertson,
that's a totally different deal.
I feel like I've told you for 2.5 years what he is as a player and what the reality of him is in the postseason. Until he takes another step there, I can't wait for him to be like, oh man, I need Robertson, because at this point he's a guy on the team. The rest of there are some other guys that are far superior players to what he is in the playoffs. They need to do their thing. They gotta be whistling and doing all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Robertson is what he is until there's something new that shows up for him in the playoffs, and that is a guy who's got a really good brain, but not the legs or the body to fight in the playoffs.
See, and it's such a shame too, because I think 2 years ago he showed he can be way more than just a guy in the playoffs. Like, he was helping lead the charge against Vegas that obviously didn't turn out to be super helpful, but last year, outside of I think he had a hat trick against Edmonton. Outside of that, this is fairly run-of-the-mill, and it does feel like it's trending in that direction where his game does not translate as well to the playoffs, and that's unfortunate. Whether you think it's Austin Matthews syndrome or whatever else, it's unfortunate that that's been the case. Because 2 years ago, I really thought you had seen the playoff breakout for him.
He was going to become that. It just seemed like he gets in there and you see it. You see the reality with him.
Yeah, and you're like, hey, maybe now is the time.
But I'm hoping.
Right. I'll put in the call one more time. Tonight's night. Robo going to score 2 goals.
2
goals.
So if you're looking to make a play on underdog today,
yeah, that's right.
Kevin is saying if it's at 1.5, take the over.
Yeah. By the way, Robertson. I can guarantee you, at best, it's at half. So yeah, go ahead and you know what? I think I'm going to make that play right now.
Look at that.